Even the Super Tucani you're talking about, the Obama administration refused to sell it to us. It was President Trump administration that sold the Super Tucani to us. So we thank Senator Trump for doing that. Having mentioned Nasarawa and Plateau, let me yield the ground. Otherwise, we'll have closed the debate. So, Senator from Plateau, the reply, you have the floor. Then we have Senator from Nasarawa.
In its totality, this motion raised by Senator Mongono. And I also rise, I'm here. It was Borno, but it is everywhere now. Most of us cannot easily visit and dine with our electorates because our villages are no more safe. President of the Senate and my colleagues, even 3 days ago, my constituents were killed by these terrorists. I personally feel, just as contributed by Senator Ahmed Lawal, that the 2025 budget is about to come to us. I feel that apart from acquiring more weapons, we need more recruit of personnel into our security agencies, because the ratio of our population to security personnel is very low. We must deliberately appropriate more funds for recruitment of our youths into the security forces. When we have that, sir, it will take care of unemployment and will also provide security to our people. Our villages are not safe. And if our electors are not safe, we are not safe too, sir. I pray that...
Thank you very much. Your time is up.
Thank you, sir. I agree, sir.
By our leader, Senator Mongono. This issue of insecurity, especially the issue of Boko Haram, is risk-spacing gradually. Even in some part of Yobe State, a lot of local governments in Yobe State that are bordering this local government he mentioned are also facing the same problem, the same attacks. You can remember that there are some attacks 2 months ago in Mafa in Tarmua local government of Yobe State, where a lot of people were killed and a lot of properties were destroyed by these Boko Haram insurgents. Recently also, there are a series of attacks in Gaidam local government in Yobe State and Yunusari local government in Yobe State. Those local governments are also bordering these areas he had mentioned. Therefore, I totally align myself with the suggestion by His Excellency, the leader, the former President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, that a serious action should be taken to curtail these issues of Boko Haram that are resurfacing now recently. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Wadada Ahmed Aliyu. You have the floor.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I remain Senator Ahmed Wadada Aliyu Sarkin Yakin Kefi, the famous horse rider. Of course, the importance of this motion cannot be overemphasized. And I think by all intent and purposes of commitment, our colleagues have spoken and virtually have said it all, with the exception of what I am going to say. Regardless of where these bandits are from, they are locally incubated or internationally coordinated. They cannot achieve their set objectives fully in any local environment if they do not have some level of support of the natives or locals there. And so, to weaken them is one of the things that makes it much easier for them to recruit our youth, is because of poverty. Hunger is a major vehicle of poverty, violence, and every negativity that obtains today in every society. So all I'm trying to say, in looking for ways to alleviate this problem, we must also talk about the situation that the citizens of this country are in. An average Nigerian citizen is entangled in poverty. Of course, efforts are being made across board by governments to see that solutions or hunger or poverty is adequately taken care of in the country. But much more needs to be done. And if we take care of poverty, of course it will reduce the rate at which these bandits recruit our youth into their activities. So for me, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, as representatives of the people here, we must at all times ensure that we give support, and not only give support, we look for ways and means that Nigerians, the situation of Nigerians will be better cushioned so that they remain focused and, of course, nationalistic in their thinking and conduct. I so contribute. Thank you, Mr. President.
My name is Senator Professor Anthony Ane. I represent Ebonyi South. Mr. President, you said it very well. I was in Maiduguri from 1991 to 2013. And that is why when the issue of security of Borno, anytime it is raised, I feel so much concerned. Now, so many people who have spoken on this motion, I stand to support this motion on its entirety, the purpose and intent. I support all of them. Now, I want to align myself very closely to what Senator Abamoro said. So much discussions on security in Nigeria, so much talks on security. I think we see less of action. Security agencies have done their best, but their best to me is not enough until we secure entirely the country. You see, where there is any security challenge, there will be no development. So long a time, since 2008, the security challenge in Borno has been growing in dimension. Of course, it's one of the things that led me, or that made me to leave Maiduguri. I had to leave Maiduguri because of security challenge. And since that time, it has never abated. And people have been talking about it. Does it mean that the security agencies have no solutions to that? Of course, most of the strategies should not be discussed on this floor. But the security people, the agencies, should know the best approaches they should employ to ensure that this is abated. Doing one thing continuously will lead you to getting the same result over and over again. It is time for them to explore other approaches to see that this thing is curtailed. Now, we have to follow this motion. It shouldn't just end in debate. We should follow it, see to it that what has been put as prayers are actualized. Having said that, I thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. We should give our maximum support to this motion. Thank you.
The last speaker.
This Senate, when I say this Senate, not the 10th Senate, listening to some of the contributions, we have to agree that we too, as senators, could do better through our military oversight functions. Somebody mentioned that we bought the wrong helicopters to Kano or whatever, and that we were supposed to buy gun attack or whatever. What was the role of the Senate oversight function to ensure that we don't just buy equipment, we buy what is appropriate? If the military chiefs have reasons to do differently, the purpose of our oversight is to refocus procurement to coincide with what we believe is most suitable. But my challenge is, can we claim to know better? We not being military people, not having had the opportunity of being trained, we seem to know what ought to be procured, rather what has been procured. For me, the challenge, therefore, is, like someone said, throwing money at a problem doesn't solve it. And in an earlier motion, prayers are added. So I think earlier in the year, I talked about the need for our committees involved in defense, army, navy, air force, not only to make the case for more spending, but to ensure that when we have appropriated, that monies are used to procure the things we need to enhance the competence of our people. Lastly, we should say nothing in these chambers as if to suggest that the army is not doing something. A lot of young men, a lot of officers and men have paid the supreme price fighting Boko Haram and other security and other criminals in different parts of the country. So even in a moment like this, when we are in pain, we are worried about the seemingly endless nature of this challenge, we mustn't fail to acknowledge, because I do know a number of very promising young men, officers and men that have been wasted, I wouldn't say wasted, who have paid the supreme price so that we can be safe. That they have not put an end to it should not make us to make comment that may be demoralizing. We should acknowledge the price they have paid. We should put them in our prayers, and I want us to challenge our committee on defense, our committee on army and navy to go beyond procurement and do proper oversighting and refocus the procurement policies of the armed forces. Thank you, Mr. President.
And distinguished colleagues, my name is Kakashehu Lawan. I represent the good people of Borno Central Senatorial District. Let me first and foremost commend Senator Mohamed Tahir Monguno, the Chief Whip of the Senate, for bringing this motion to the Senate, and also sympathize with him with what is happening in his senatorial district. Let me also join my leader, the former Senate President, in supporting the motion ably moved by Senator Monguno. Mr. President, sir, prior to my election as a senator, I was the chairman of a committee set up by Borno State government to relocate the IDPs that were dislodged by Boko Haram in their various communities. I know the terrain very well. The Nigerian military had Operation Hadinkai, Sector 1 in Monguno, the headquarters of Monguno local government. And then the multinational joint task force also had its Sector 3 headquarters in Monguno. But Mr. President, it will interest you to note, Borno North Senatorial District comprised of 10 local government areas, and it is a very vast land. Now, the military agreed they are overstretched, but then Borno North share borders with the Republic of Niger and Chad. They use the territorial waters of Lake Chad and Nigeria, the territorial waters between Lake Chad and Nigeria, to navigate themselves their ways into Nigeria and find a safe haven. Imagine a local government headquarters without a single military deployment, and then locals were staying there. So the havoc caused by these miscreants is very serious. So we need to nip this thing in the bud
by urging the military to establish not only a super camp, but let them deploy, despite the fact there's overstretched, let them have a permanent deployment in Guzamala, the headquarters of Guzamala local government area. While I also associate myself with the former Senate President that there must be a joint task force to supplement or rather complement the efforts of the military in wiping out this Boko Haram entirely. Just a couple of days ago, they launched a serious attack on Kareto, a very popular town in Borno North Territorial District, where they carted away serious military hardware. So that is very dangerous. If something is not done, they are going to continue their nefarious activities in that senatorial district and possibly escalate to other senatorial districts. Mr. President, one fact is very clear. They had a similar attack on the Chadian troops in the Republic of Chad. The president took it upon himself to command the troops of Chadian forces and wipe out these guys. So in so doing, they are now trespassing into the territorial integrity of Nigeria, the territorial borders of Nigeria, where we don't have military deployment, that is their safe haven. So something has to be done immediately by curtailing this ugly terrain. I so support, Mr. President. Thank you.
Minority Leader, sorry, we have to shift this way.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. The motion is on the need to deploy adequate security personnel to endangered local government areas in Borno State. The Senate notes that for many years, Borno State has been bedeviled by insurgency, with communities facing one form of attack or the other every now and then. Aware that recently relative peace has been restored in Borno State due to efforts of the Nigerian armed forces, which are commendable. However, some communities are still besieged by insecurity, as Guzamala local government does not have any civil authority in place, no military presence, while Abadam and Marte local government areas need security reinforcement. Also aware that the aforementioned areas are predominantly agrarian communities, with Marte local government area being known for large-scale production of wheat and rice. Worried that communities in those areas are still under the captivity of Boko Haram, and the people have been suffering untold hardship as a result of the insecurity which has damaged the local economy, infrastructure, and livelihoods herein. And also worried that the absence of military personnel in the areas may cause the insurgents to become more emboldened and attempt to capture surrounding communities, thus ruining the previous efforts by the government to secure the state. Accordingly, resolves to urge the Nigerian armed forces to establish a super camp at Guzama local government area and mobilize adequate personnel to secure Abadam and Marte local government areas of Borno State, and mandate the committees on Army and Air Force to ensure implementation. Mr. President, distinguished senators, it may interest you to know that local government, Guzamala local government, which is one local government from my senatorial district, and a neighboring local government to my own local government of Monguno, is completely under the control, tight control of Boko Haram insurgents, because of the fact that not a single security personnel is found in the whole local government. As a result, civil authority is lost, and Boko Haram are effectively in control of that local government. They have imposed taxes on people, they have imposed levies on people, and there is no security personnel to challenge them, and there is no civil authority that is in existence in that local government because of the presence of Boko Haram and the tight control, the total control they have in that local government. So therefore, we are craving for the indulgence of this Senate to direct the Nigerian military to make their presence felt with a view to repelling the Boko Haram insurgents in that local government, because if we allow them to exist in that local government, they will be further emboldened and have all the luxury to organize and attack other neighboring local governments, particularly my own local government of Monguno and other neighboring local governments, that peace has been restored, civil authority has been restored, and people are started going back to their respective communities to pick the pieces of their lives. So it is very important that this local government is secured and this local government is redeemed from the tight control of Boko Haram, as well as Abadam and Marte local government that though we have military presence, but they are equally challenged. We need further reinforcements in these two other local governments while complete repelling of Boko Haram in one local government of Guzamala. Thank you.
Sorry. The former president of the Senate, Senator Amelon, thereafter Senator